Hello and welcome to Just One More Watch, and welcome today to my review of the hottest watch of the season. The season being Halloween, the watch being the Spinnaker 50 Phantoms, developed in partnership with French artist Second, the hottest collaborator in the watch world. They released one of these last year and it blew up, so it's no surprise Spinnaker are back with a new version in 2024 in a slightly smaller size that is likely to suit even more people. Now, I admit I'm a little bit late to this one, having just got back from the USA and the UK on Saturday. They're doing two runs of these. The first limited numbered edition of 888 pieces have already sold out, but they've opened up another unlimited 48-hour pre-order window where you can buy the same watch without the number for delivery in April next year. And I have to say, considering you're getting a Second collab for under $450 US, I think these are really good value. Plus, it's a decent base watch as well. It's a neat and tidy, well-resolved 40-20 diver with a high-beat Japanese auto and a couple of straps. I can understand why these have been so popular. Now, you saw the pop-up. This video is sponsored by Spinnaker. I will therefore of course leave a link to the listing for this watch in the description of the video. I met Vishal and the guys from Spinnaker for the first time at Wind Up last week. They are lovely gentlemen and I got to look at both of the watches in advance of checking out this one. So let's do exactly that. Let's check this one out, starting with the packaging. Again, for the price they're asking, it's really good. Not only do you get the watch with two color complementary straps for your $445 US, but you also get a 50 Phantoms baseball cap. Like I said, the value equation here is excellent. You got a big box, and I hope you like purple because the box, the watch, and both straps are purple. 2-year warranty, by the way. Even the box has some neat touches. There are multiple layers of packing, including a bonus torch to charge the loom hiding underneath the strap. Batteries not included, of course. It all just looks like it has been clearly thought out from one end to the other by an artist. Talking of which, who is Second? Well, in an article last year, Time and Tide referred to him as the Banksy of the watch world, and that label seems to have stuck. I think it pretty much tells you everything you need to know. His actual name is Romaric André. He's a Parisian watch artist who I believe started out by modifying vintage watches, and over the last couple of years has done a number of limited edition style collaborations with big brands like Timex and smaller brands like Bamford, Mayen, and now Spinnaker. And he seems to have the Midas touch, almost guaranteeing a sellout project. That's now 2 years in a row that the numbered 50 Phantoms have all sold out. Let's do dimensions then, and the 50 Phantoms is based on their updated Flus model, therefore it has the same basic set of very appealing dimensions as said Flus model, those being 40mm in diameter, 12.2mm thick, with a lug-to-lug of 46.5 and 20mm between the lugs. Now, as supplied on the leather strap, this one weighs 75 grams. It's only a couple of grams more on rubber. Water resistance, slightly unusual, 150 meters. Crystal is box flat sapphire. And the movement, well, I bet you're probably expecting a Seiko NH35. But you're not getting one. You're getting a Miyota 9039 instead. Not only that, but you're getting a display case back with a Phantom printed on the underside of it and a custom rotor. Spinnaker could easily charge $100 more for what you're getting here, and it would still be great value. Anyway, you know the Miyota, 24 jewel Japanese made 4Hz auto with a roughly 40-hour power reserve. The case finish is also very impressive. If you hadn't twigged already by the fact that this one is called the 50 Phantoms, the Flus is a homage to the Blancpain 50 Fathoms and has a similarly curvaceous case profile. There's a fine vertical brush to that curved center section and to both the sides and upper surfaces of the lugs, but there's a high polished chamfer running from the bezel to the lug tip. Flipping it over to the crown side, a Halloween themed watch needs a pumpkin crown, of course, and it gets one. Overall, the finishing is very nice and a veritable leap forward in terms of quality from the Spinnakers that I was reviewing 5 or 6 years ago. The bezel action is also perfectly decent for the money. 120 click dive time, although frankly I'm not sure how many of these will actually get wet, let alone time a dive. It's nicely machined and offers plenty of grip, although I wouldn't say it was spot on. It looks just a little bit off to my eye. Perhaps that has as much to do with the printing though as with the bezel action itself. Straps. Well, this one comes with 2 straps, both of which are purple. This first leather one is clearly branded as a Secon Special Edition. The shade of eggplant, I would call it, matches the dial nicely, and it has chunky quick release spring bars and Spinnaker branded hardware. Plus, it's one of these straps that's sealed at both sides, so it should at the very least be splash proof. However, if you want to get your watch properly wet, they provide an alternative rubber strap, again fully branded, quick release and nice matching hardware. But let's get into the dial and the handset. Now there are actually 2 different versions of this one available in 2024. The first is similar to last year's, indeed they're calling it the Phantom Classic. That one has the aforementioned 50 phantoms on the dial and more of an orange hue to the indices and the bezel insert. New for 2024 is the no app version, where the ghosts have been banished from the dial and are situated in the bezel insert instead. This one, less orange and more pale yellow. Take your pick though, they're both a ton of fun. I was clearly sent the no app version. Now the dial itself is matte black and textured. The Spinnaker brand name is in silver. I think that's actually part of the dial moulding rather than being applied on top. Likewise, the model name, 50 Phantoms, also moulded in. And the no app, as in no apparitions, also moulded above the 6. I wonder where they got the idea for that. The indices are applied though with satinized silver surrounds, the combination of circles, rectangles and that kite-shaped index at 12, all very reminiscent of the aforementioned 50 fathoms. The hands are simple, flat, brushed silver, matte finish swords with a large red arrowhead tip to the second hand. The dial itself on this no app version anyway is pretty unremarkable in some respects. The fun is all in the bezel insert. And so indeed are the 50 phantoms drawn into the bezel insert. They're squeezed 5 every 5 minutes, hence the gap between the 50 and the 60/0. Now the bezel insert itself, again designed to look very much like the one on the Blancpain. It isn't stated on their website, but I would imagine it's made of mineral crystal, so you will have to be a little bit careful so as not to scratch it. Overall, it's cheeky, it's fun, but it's actually still surprisingly legible because the dial on this version anyway is not that far off the standard Spinnaker Flus. But of course, just like on the 31st of October each year, the real fun starts after dark. As such, you're getting not 1, not 2, but 3 loom shots today, starting with the case back. Oddly enough, that cheeky little phantom printed underneath the crystal is loomed. And check this high loom shot out. The cross stitching on the leather strap is also loomed. That is just ridiculous attention to detail. I say it again, good on you Spinnaker for not price gouging with this one. I'm sure they'll still do alright though, based on the sheer volume of these that they will undoubtedly sell. And finally then, the money shot, the big top-down loom video. Clearly 2 colours being used here, both BGW9 and C3. The hands are C3, the indices are BGW9. 25 of the phantoms are one colour, 25 of the phantoms are the other colour. But I'm afraid this is as good as it gets, folks. When I turn the speed up, it does fade unevenly, to be honest. The blue phantoms hang on longer than their green counterparts, but by the end of the 20-minute test, they've all gone, as has everything else. You're going to need that little UV torch by the side of your bed because this one will need topped up halfway through the night. On wrist, 40/20, just over 12mm thick, no surprises whatsoever. Now, crystal casebacks are always comfortable against the skin, and perhaps you spotted that the rest of the caseback is high polish, again aiding comfort. Around 75 grams of weight on either of the 2 strap options. That's not a lot, not enough to give you any issues anyway. And if if you don't fancy either of the supplied straps, if you prefer to stick it on a Marine Nationale or your favourite ... then you won't have a problem, because despite the compact lug-to-lug of 46.5, there's plenty of space to fit leather or nylon straps. The Flus is by no means a new model in the Spinnaker catalogue, although it has shrunk a little bit since I reviewed it many years ago. They've clearly had plenty of time then to refine it, to resolve it, and to get it right. And as discussed, legibility is actually pretty good, because the dial, on this version at least, is apparition free. You can forget using the bezel to time a dive though, unless of course you time your dives in apparitions rather than minutes. Alright, moans and niggles. Honestly, I don't have all that many. If you're into this, if you like the look, if you like that kind of cheeky design, if that resonates with you, then just buy it. Under $500 for a second collab of a watch which was actually decent in the first place, it's a bit of a no-brainer. As always with this style of watch though, just know exactly what you're buying and exactly why you're buying it. If you're looking for a quirky daily, for sure this thing's got you covered. If you're looking for a one Saturday a month, then of course this will do just fine. If you're only going to wear it on Halloween though, that's a little bit expensive to get 1 day's use per annum, I reckon anyway. But if I had to complain about something, and of course I have to complain about something, it's who I am, then the second batch, the unlimited batch, doesn't quite have the same appeal as the first numbered batch does. It's not numbered, it's not going to hold its value quite the same therefore. Talking of which, because of the exclusive collab nature of this watch, it has always attracted flippers. Last year's did, and it looks like this year's is doing the same thing. Check this one I found on eBay for the frankly preposterous price of £3,000 British. Come on, that is a joke. But if the whole kind of flipping thing gives you the ick, then maybe you best avoid this one altogether. And let's have another look at that loom shot. As I mentioned earlier on, I don't quite think the bezel markings are spot on. From this dead overhead shot, they line up at 12 and 9, but they don't quite line up at 3 and 6. However, given the rather notional nature of the bezel markings anyway, I don't think anyone will give two hoots. Halloween pun very much intended. Talking of which, there's also that paradox of buying a Halloween themed watch the week before Halloween and then not taking receipt of it for about 6 months. But like I said, there is a lot to like here and not a lot to dislike really. The base watch is a good one, it's kind of neatly done throughout. There are more than enough nice touches, from the cap to the box to the packaging to the extras to the watch itself, all over the watch itself, that it feels really nicely resolved rather than just a slapdash collab cash grab. And frankly, they could have grabbed at least $100 more for every one of these, and nobody would have batted an eyelid, including me, and I cannot remember the last time I said that about any watch. So there you have it, the first Spinnaker in ages, and what a cracker. While you're here, why not check out a couple of others? Thanks for watching this one. I'll see you again in the next one.